I've never told anyone this story. Not my mom, not my brother, not a single person in my life, because I know exactly how it sounds. And for a long time I convinced myself that if I just didn't say it out loud, I could keep pretending there was a normal explanation. But I've done the math too many times now, and the math doesn't lie. My neighbor had been dead for 9 days, and something was still standing at his window every single night, watching my house, watching my window, watching me. We lived in a quiet neighborhood in Ohio, the kind of place where summer felt safe. Kids rode bikes until dark. Nobody locked their doors. Everyone knew everyone. My neighbor across the street was a man named Mr. Felton, late 60s, lived alone ever since his wife passed away a few years before. Quiet man, kept to himself mostly, but in a completely normal way. Not strange quiet, just private quiet. He used to leave vegetables from his garden on people's porches without saying anything about it. You'd just come home one afternoon and there'd be tomatoes or cucumbers sitting by your door. Nobody had a single bad thing to say about him. He was just a gentle old man living alone in a house full of memories. I was 13 that summer. My bedroom window faced the street directly toward his house, and I had this bad habit of staying up way too late, watching TV, scrolling, just being a restless kid who didn't want to sleep. Here's something I noticed early on that summer. At night, when the lights inside a house are on and it's dark outside, windows stop being windows. They turn into screens. Lit up, clear, you can see straight through them. Whatever is happening inside that room is completely visible to anyone standing outside in the dark. I never really thought about what that meant from the other direction until later. Most nights Mr. Felton's lights were off by 10. Early to bed, completely normal for someone his age. I barely noticed his house at all. Then one night around 1 in the morning, I looked across the street and his front room light was still on. I didn't think anything of it. Figured he'd fallen asleep watching the news. Happens all the time with older people. But then the next night, same thing. Lights still on past midnight. And the night after that. And the night after that. Every single night, that week his front room was still lit up past 1 a.m. And that's when I started noticing something that made my stomach feel uneasy in a way I couldn't quite explain. The light wasn't normal. It wasn't the warm yellow glow of a lamp. It wasn't the bright white of an overhead light. It was dim, bluish, and it moved. Not dramatically, just this slow, subtle flicker. Like a candle in a room with no wind. Like something breathing. I told myself it was the TV. Of course it was the TV. Old man falls asleep with the TV on every night. Completely normal. I almost convinced myself. Then one night I was sitting at my window eating chips around midnight, and I looked across the street, and the light was there again. And this time there was something else. A shape, a silhouette, a person standing completely still right at the glass. Not sitting on a couch, not moving around the room, just standing there, right at the window, facing my direction. I stopped chewing. I stopped breathing. I just stared, and I waited for it to move, to shift its weight, to turn its head, to do literally anything a living person does when they're standing somewhere. It didn't. It just stood there with this absolute stillness that felt immediately wrong in a way my body understood before my brain did. I kept telling myself it was just Mr. Felton. Maybe he couldn't sleep. Maybe he was looking outside. People stand at windows all the time. But the longer I watched, the worse the feeling got. Because there was something about the way it stood there. Not restless. Not looking around. Not doing anything. Just completely, perfectly, unnaturally still. Like it wasn't standing at the window to look out. Like it was standing there because it knew someone on the other side was looking in. I don't know how long I sat there staring at that silhouette. It felt like minutes. At some point, I slowly leaned back from my window and pressed my back against my bed and just sat there in the dark with my heart slamming in my chest. I told myself I was being ridiculous. I told myself there was nothing wrong. But I left my lamp on that night, and I didn't sleep. The next morning, I came downstairs and my mom was sitting at the kitchen table reading the newspaper. She went quiet in this very specific way. That sharp, sudden quiet that means something just hit her. She turned the paper around and showed it to me without saying anything. There was a picture of Mr. Felton. He had been found dead inside his house. The paramedics estimated he had passed away approximately 9 days ago. No family nearby. No close friends checking in regularly. Nobody had any idea until a mail carrier noticed the mailbox completely overflowing and called it in. 9 days. I sat there at that kitchen table and I did the math very quietly in my head. I had been seeing that light in his window every night for at least a week. That flickering, breathing, bluish light. I had seen that figure standing at the glass 4 nights ago, standing completely still, facing my window. Mr. Felton had already been dead for days by then. That house was empty, and something was still turning his light on every night. Something was still standing at that window in the dark. I never told my mom. I never told anyone. For years I kept it completely to myself because I knew how it would sound. And honestly, part of me still wanted to believe there was an explanation I just hadn't thought of yet. But here's the thing. I've had years to think about it, and every explanation I come up with falls apart when I remember one specific detail. The stillness. The way that figure just stood there without moving, without breathing, without doing any of the small unconscious things that living people do when they're simply standing somewhere. It wasn't watching the street. It wasn't looking at the sky. It was facing my window, directly, every time. The house has new owners now, young family, 2 little kids who ride their bikes on that same street where I grew up. I really hope whatever was standing in that window was there for Mr. Felton. I really hope it left when he did. But sometimes when I drive through that neighborhood late at night, I still slow down without meaning to. And I still look at that window, because somewhere in the back of my mind, I'm still asking the same question I've never been able to answer. For those 9 nights while that house sat empty and dark and silent, who was turning that light on? And why was it always facing my window?